The vast darkness of space was suddenly shattered by a series of blinking lights on the edge of the Orlaxian system. Commander Vryanin of the Orlaxian fleet stared at the readings, unable to believe what his sensors were showing. "Impossible," he whispered. His ship, one of the largest in the fleet, trembled slightly as if it shared his disbelief. Hundreds of Orlaxian vessels had patrolled this sector for decades, yet this anomaly had remained invisible, until now. On the bridge, tension buzzed like electricity. Officers shouted readings, adjusted instruments, and tried to make sense of what their sensors were picking up. But no one could explain it. The energy signature was too precise, too powerful. It was unlike anything they had encountered before. And yet, it was clearly artificial. "Commander, it's moving. And it's fast, unbelievably fast," Lieutenant Cree reported, his voice shaky. He had monitored countless fleets over his career, but the movement pattern of this object was unlike anything recorded. It didn't follow the normal laws of propulsion or energy. It almost seemed alive, intelligent. Vryanin's eyes narrowed. "Prepare the fleet for immediate engagement. Alert the Council. Whatever this is, we cannot let it pass unnoticed." But before any further action could be taken, the unknown object blinked again, vanishing from their sensors like a shadow dissolving into the night. Panic gripped the officers. How could something so massive disappear without a trace? Across the galaxy, other species were reacting similarly. News of this strange appearance had spread like wildfire, reaching councils, scientists, and military leaders alike. The Dravik scientists were particularly anxious. They had always believed themselves to be the most technologically advanced race in the sector. But now, all calculations, all predictions, were thrown into chaos. Meanwhile, aboard the human vessel Aegis Horizon, deep in a starless sector far from the Orlaxian system, Captain Elena Mercer adjusted the ship's course. Her crew moved with calm precision, unaware of the chaos their existence had just triggered in alien civilizations. Sensors hummed softly in the background. The ship had been traveling for months in stealth mode, avoiding detection, silently patrolling the borders of known space. "Captain, the Orlaxian fleet just registered a massive energy spike near their system," the communications officer said. "They're scrambling. It looks like they're preparing for war." Elena's lips curved into a small, almost imperceptible smile. "Good. Let them believe they are in control. They always assume they understand what they see." On the bridge, the crew carried out their routines with quiet efficiency. Every movement, every command, had been drilled countless times. But beneath the surface of calm professionalism, there was anticipation. Humanity had waited a long time for this moment. The galaxy had long whispered tales of human arrogance and cunning, but few had ever witnessed it firsthand. In the Orlaxian command center, alarm bells rang as more fleets began reporting anomalies. Entire patrol groups had been obliterated, or so they thought, before their sensors could even detect the enemy. Communication networks were overwhelmed with panic. "This is beyond anything we imagined," Admiral Vethan said, his voice tight with frustration. "We have trained for every possible threat. But this is not a threat we prepared for." And yet, the humans did not strike immediately. They did not rush to destroy. Instead, they watched. They observed. Every alien fleet movement, every calculated maneuver, every response to fear and confusion. It was a strategy honed over centuries. The galaxy thought they were cautious. In reality, humanity was patient, understanding the value of timing, of waiting for the perfect moment. Back aboard the Aegis Horizon, Elena walked through the corridors of her ship. Crew members gave her nods of respect, but none spoke unnecessarily. Every second mattered. The humans were aware that the galaxy had underestimated them. Entire civilizations believed that humans were primitive, slow, or insignificant. Now, all assumptions were about to crumble. In the outer orbit of the Orlaxian homeworld, sensors suddenly detected a ripple, a distortion of reality itself. Vryanin's fleet tried to adjust their shields, tried to prepare, tried to fight. But the humans had learned the limits of physics and used them in ways the galaxy could not comprehend. A single human vessel had the power to challenge entire fleets. And this vessel, the Aegis Horizon, was only the beginning. Commander Vryn felt the first wave of dread. He had seen the reports, studied the calculations, and still could not believe it. The humans, whom they had dismissed as weak, unorganized, and irrelevant, were already rewriting the rules of engagement. And somewhere deep in his mind, Vryn realized that this encounter was not just about battle. It was a revelation. The galaxy had assumed humans were just another race among many. They had been wrong. Terribly, dangerously wrong. On Earth, far from these unfolding events, the human government quietly monitored reports from deep space. No celebrations, no speeches, just observation. The humans had learned long ago that true power was measured not in noise, but in action. And action, when taken at the right moment, could turn fear into legend. As the Orlaxian fleet scrambled, the humans waited, poised, silent. One ship. One human mind. One unbreakable resolve. The galaxy was about to discover who really ruled the stars. The Orlaxian fleets were in chaos. Ships collided in panic as commanders tried to make sense of the sudden disappearances of their patrol groups. Every sensor reading was met with confusion. Entire squadrons had vanished without a trace. Panic spread faster than any alarm. Commander Vryn, they're gone, Lieutenant Kree said, voice trembling. All patrol ships vanished. Vryn's hands tightened around the control console. His mind raced, trying to process what he was witnessing. Gone? How? No weapon can erase them like this. Across the galaxy, similar reports were coming in from other species. The Dravik fleets had lost communication with several key ships near the edge of the Sealer Nebula. The Atari forces reported strange energy surges before their ships were obliterated. No attack patterns, no warnings, just sudden annihilation. Back aboard the Aegis Horizon, Captain Elena Mercer observed every movement with a calm intensity. The ship glided silently, almost invisible to every scanning system in range. Her crew moved with precise coordination, each member understanding their role in the momentous event unfolding. "Captain, they've sent a fleet to intercept us," the tactical officer said. "Orlaxian capital ships. They're fully armed, moving fast." Elena leaned against the railing, eyes fixed on the holographic display of the approaching fleet. "Let them come," she said quietly. "They still believe they are hunting. They still think this is about strength. They don't understand timing yet." The humans had been trained for centuries in situations just like this. They understood fear, manipulation, and strategy in ways that alien civilizations could not. The Aegis Horizon did not need overwhelming firepower, it needed patience. And yet, the aliens were not idle. As the Orlaxian fleet closed in, Admiral Vet Han ordered a coordinated strike. "Engage all weapons," he commanded. "This is our chance to eliminate the threat before it spreads." In the Orlaxian command center, tension was unbearable. Screens flickered as ships disappeared one by one. Alarms blared and officers shouted, but their voices carried only panic, not hope. Every calculated maneuver by the humans seemed to anticipate their next move. Then, a sudden wave of energy rippled across space. The Orlaxian fleet's shields flickered, and several capital ships experienced systems failures simultaneously. Vryn's bridge erupted in chaos. Shields, down. Engines, losing power. Elena's voice came over the comm system, calm, almost serene. "This isn't war, yet. This is a lesson. Learn it well." The Orlaxians could barely comprehend what they were seeing. A single human ship was disrupting entire fleets, not with raw force, but with precision, technology, and understanding of physics beyond their comprehension. Some ships experienced spatial distortions, others found their weapons misfiring. It was as if the humans were bending reality itself to their will. Vryn stared at the display. Every second brought new horror. "How is this possible?" he muttered, almost to himself. They're just one ship." "Yes, one ship," Elena said, almost as if she could hear him. And we are patient. We wait for the right moment, and the galaxy learns the truth. Meanwhile, smaller Orlaxian squadrons attempted flanking maneuvers, hoping to overwhelm the human ship. But as they approached, an invisible barrier, or something akin to it, stopped them in their tracks. Energy readings spiked. Ships were pushed back, as if space itself refused their advance. "Captain, they're stuck," the tactical officer reported. "Our systems are unaffected, but their formations are breaking." Elena's smile widened. Let them struggle. Let them think they are fighting. Fear is the greatest teacher. And then, the first message from alien leaders reached the Aegis horizon. Holographic signals shimmered across the bridge. Multiple species were sending unified demands. Surrender. Identify yourselves. Do not advance. Elena listened silently. Her fingers hovered over the control panel. She knew what to do. A simple response, precise and undeniable, would echo across the galaxy, changing perception forever. "Prepare the announcement," she said. Her voice carried authority without shouting. "Let them see who truly rules the stars." Across the Orlaxian fleets, confusion and fear reached a peak. Thousands of officers looked at their consoles, trying to understand what they were seeing. The humans, whom they had underestimated, were no longer a mystery. They were a revelation. And in that moment, the galaxy began to whisper. Whispers turned to panic. Panic turned to disbelief. And disbelief would soon turn into knowledge. The humans were here. And they were not just a race among many. They were rulers in a way the galaxy had never imagined. The Aegis horizon glided forward, silent, patient, untouchable. And somewhere deep in the Orlaxian command, Vryn knew the first undeniable truth. Everything they thought they understood about humanity was wrong. Dead wrong. The Orlaxian fleet trembled as the Aegis horizon glided closer, silent and unyielding. Every alien commander had predicted panic, but not precision. Not control. Not intelligence that seemed to anticipate every move before it even happened. "Captain," the tactical officer said, his voice tight with tension, "they're forming attack patterns. The Orlaxians are coordinating. It's massive." Elena Mercer's eyes narrowed. Let them think they have the advantage. That's when fear becomes most effective. On the outer rim of the Orlaxian homeworld, fleets of warships surged forward, engines glowing, weapons primed. Millions of soldiers braced for battle, confident that the humans would not dare confront them directly. But they had no idea. The first salvo fired. Energy beams ripped through the vacuum of space, aimed at the Aegis horizon. Every shot that struck, however, seemed to pass through empty space, absorbed or redirected in ways the aliens could not understand. The human ship responded not with missiles or guns, but with subtle distortions in energy fields, nudging enemy weapons harmlessly aside. On Vryn's bridge, alarms screamed as ships were thrown off course, shields flickering. What is happening?" he shouted, his hands shaking over the console. Entire squadrons drifted helplessly as if invisible hands pushed them aside. Elena watched calmly. "They fight with force. We fight with understanding," she said. The Aegis horizon pulsed faintly, its core releasing waves of controlled energy. Nothing reckless, nothing loud. But the effect was catastrophic for the aliens. In seconds, small squadrons were in disarray. Capital ships lost formation, colliding or spinning uncontrollably. The Orlaxians realized too late that raw firepower alone could not overcome this human strategy. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other species were watching. Transmission feeds from Dravik and Atari fleets broadcasted live images of the unfolding chaos. Whispers turned to panic, panic to awe. Humans had never been visible beyond Earth system, and now one ship was defying the known laws of warfare. "Captain, more fleets are moving to intercept," the tactical officer said. "They're desperate." Elena leaned against the railing, eyes calm. "Let them come. Each new wave only proves the lesson. The galaxy believes power is measured in numbers. We show them it is measured in control. The Orlaxians tried a coordinated strike, forming a perfect blockade. Every path of retreat seemed sealed. But the humans moved with impossible precision, slipping through gaps that should not have existed, appearing at angles that defied prediction. And then came the first real confrontation. An Orlaxian warship, massive and heavily armed, lunged forward, trying to ram the Aegis horizon. Weapons discharged in desperation. Lasers streaked across space. But the human ship tilted slightly, shifted imperceptibly, and the energy wave from its core caused the Orlaxian vessel systems to malfunction. Engines stalled, weapons jammed, shields collapsed. Realization could only watch in disbelief as his largest ship spun helplessly, powerless. Impossible, one ship, one human, he muttered. Elena's voice, calm and resolute, echoed across the Aegis horizon. This is not war. This is revelation. You see now what you never imagined. The first casualty of alien arrogance was destroyed, not by firepower, but by intellect and understanding of space itself. Others followed, retreating in confusion, unable to predict or counter the human silent, methodical dominance. On Earth, deep space monitoring centers tracked the events silently. No cheers, no celebrations. The humans had prepared for centuries for this moment. This was only the beginning. One ship, one strike, but the ripple of fear and respect would soon reach every system in the galaxy. "Captain," the communications officer said, voice trembling with awe. They're trying to negotiate." Elena's smile was almost imperceptible. "Good. Let them realize, it is time to acknowledge who truly rules the stars." The Orlaxians were learning the hard way. Humanity was not a myth. Humanity was not just another species. Humanity was a force, patient, intelligent, and unstoppable in ways the galaxy had never witnessed. And as the Aegis horizon glided through the wreckage of the first wave, silent and unharmed, one truth became clear. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. Across the Orlaxian system, panic spread like wildfire. Reports from fleet commanders flooded every communications channel, each one more alarming than the last. Entire squadrons were gone. Capital ships were drifting helplessly. The humans had not even fired conventional weapons, and yet devastation followed in their wake. On the bridge of the Aegis horizon, Captain Elena Mercer observed the chaos without haste. Her crew moved with silent precision, monitoring every alien movement, every hesitation. This was not a battle of brute force. This was a demonstration of understanding, patience, and superiority. "Captain," the tactical officer said, eyes wide, "the Orlaxians, they've stopped attacking. They're sending envoys. Entire fleets are halting, unsure what to do next." Elena leaned over the console, voice calm, controlled. "Let them realize. Let them see clearly who truly rules the stars. Fear and respect are not given, they are earned." In the Orlaxian command center, Admiral Vethan paced, his massive claws clattering against the metal floor. "We fought every species in known space," he growled. "We've faced the Atari, the Dravik, even the Cellari warlords. But this, humans, how can one ship, one human, cause such chaos?" Lieutenant Kree stepped forward, trembling. "Sir, they are not just strong. They anticipate, they manipulate space and energy. It's as if the laws of physics bend to them." Vethan's eyes widened. "Impossible. Physics cannot bend. Not even for humans." And yet, the proof was undeniable. Across the system, alien fleets were retreating, not out of cowardice, but confusion and fear. Humans had revealed a power the galaxy had never expected. They were rulers, not by might alone, but by mastery of strategy, technology, and patience. Meanwhile, Elena activated the ship's long-range communication systems. The human voice, calm and commanding, resonated through the silence of space, reaching every fleet, every listening station. "This is humanity," she began. "We are no myth. We are no simple race. We have observed your expansion, your wars, your arrogance. And we have waited. You assumed the stars were yours. You assumed control. You were wrong. The galaxy belongs to none of you, but it recognizes those who are prepared. We are those prepared. We are the future of these stars. Learn well. Fear wisely. Across the alien fleets, the message sent shivers through soldiers, commanders, and scientists alike. Thousands of years of arrogance, confidence, and assumptions shattered in seconds. They had thought humans were primitive, confined to a single blue planet, unworthy of notice. Now, they realized the truth. Humans were apex strategists, patient predators, and unmatched in ingenuity. Realization gripped his console, voice breaking. All our calculations, all our predictions, they were wrong. Humans, they are beyond our understanding. Elena watched quietly. They will learn, she said softly. They always learn, eventually. Back on Earth, the human government observed silently. No celebrations, no panic, no hasty announcements. The humans had waited for this moment for centuries, preparing quietly, watching as other civilizations grew arrogant. Now, the time for observation was over. The galaxy would understand human dominance and respect it. In the outer sectors, Dravik fleets began broadcasting emergency messages, urging all species to prepare defenses, yet even they hesitated, unsure how to fight against something so beyond comprehension. The whispers had begun. Across systems, from small colonies to mighty empires, the name humanity spread, no longer a rumor, but a warning. Meanwhile, aboard the Aegis Horizon, Elena turned to her crew. We move carefully, but decisively, she said. Our goal is not destruction, but revelation. Let them see who truly commands the stars. Let fear guide their respect, not blind aggression. The humans were no longer hidden. The galaxy had discovered them. And for the first time in history, every civilization realized that humanity was not just another race. Humanity was a force, patient, intelligent, unstoppable. As the Aegis Horizon silently glided through space, leaving the Orlaxian fleet stunned and immobilized, one fact became undeniable. The galaxy would never be the same again. The era of humans was beginning, and no one, not even the mightiest fleets, could deny their power. Across the stars, the ripple of fear and awe caused by the Aegis Horizon spread like wildfire. Reports poured in from every corner of known space. Entire fleets were retreating, not defeated in battle, but paralyzed by the sheer unpredictability of humans. Small systems began calling emergency councils. Empires that once considered themselves untouchable now trembled. On the bridge of the human vessel, Captain Elena Mercer observed every feed, every movement, every subtle reaction. Her crew moved with efficiency born from years of discipline. Every moment mattered, every choice was calculated. Humanity was demonstrating dominance not with aggression, but with undeniable presence. Captain, the tactical officer said, pointing at a holographic map, the Orlaxians, Dravik, and Atari fleets are all converging. They're attempting a coordinated response. Hundreds of ships. Elena's gaze was calm. Let them try. Coordination is meaningless when they cannot predict our actions. We are not just a fleet. We are strategy incarnate. As the alien fleets moved closer, the humans unleashed a demonstration of controlled power. Energy pulses emanated from the Aegis Horizon, subtly altering spatial fields around the enemy formations. Ships found themselves slowed, weapons misfiring, engines failing. Alien commanders shouted orders, but confusion spread faster than any command could reach. In the Orlaxian command center, Admiral Vethan's claws drummed nervously against the console. Every prediction, every calculation, wrong. How can one ship, one human, disrupt hundreds? Lieutenant Kree's voice trembled. It's not just disruption, it's intelligence. They know our moves before we do. They control the battlefield without firing a single missile. Across the galaxy, similar chaos unfolded. Dravik squadrons froze mid-flight as energy distortions disabled their weapons. Atari patrols spun helplessly, their formations collapsing like sandcastles in a storm. The whispers became shouts. Humans are more than we imagined. Humans are unstoppable. Back aboard the Aegis Horizon, Elena watched the results with satisfaction. They assume power is measured in numbers, in fleets, in weapons. We show them it is measured in understanding, in patience, in precision. Suddenly, a transmission appeared on long-range comms. Multiple species were speaking at once, desperate to communicate, to negotiate, to survive. The human crew watched silently as the galaxy begged for answers. Elena's voice, calm but commanding, echoed across all channels. Listen carefully. Humanity is not here to destroy. We are here to ensure understanding. The galaxy has assumed dominance for too long. We correct that. Fear is natural. Respect is necessary. Learn well, for we act with patience, but patience is finite. The galaxy was stunned. Entire civilizations realized that humans were no longer a distant rumor. Humanity was a tangible, unstoppable presence. Fleet commanders, scientists, and politicians alike could only watch in disbelief as a single human ship dictated the behavior of hundreds of vessels. On Earth, the human government monitored the events quietly. No celebrations, no alarms. Their patience had reached fruition. Every plan, every preparation, every observation had led to this moment. The galaxy would learn that humans were not to be underestimated. In the outer systems, smaller civilizations began sending envoys, curious and fearful. They had long heard legends of human ingenuity, but nothing had prepared them for this. Humans were rulers, not through force alone, but through understanding, precision, and control. Meanwhile, in the Orlaxian fleets, chaos was giving way to reluctant admiration. Admiral Vet Han realized that conventional strategies would no longer suffice. The humans were rewriting the rules. Retreat, regroup, negotiate. They had no choice but to adapt or perish. Elena turned to her crew. Prepare for the next stage, she said. The galaxy is watching. Every action we take now will shape how civilizations remember humanity. Let them see strength without aggression, dominance without chaos. That is how rulers are recognized. The Aegis Horizon glided silently through the stunned fleets, untouchable, patient, unyielding. And across the galaxy, one realization spread like wildfire: humanity had arrived. Not as a myth. Not as a rumor. Humanity had arrived as the true force of the stars, commanding respect, fear, and awe. Across multiple star systems, panic and confusion had become the new normal. Alien fleets, once proud and unchallenged, were scrambling to regroup. Entire empires were struggling to comprehend the scale of human power. They had assumed humans were primitive, limited to one planet, incapable of projecting influence beyond their own system. They were wrong. In the Orlaxian command center, Admiral Vet Han slammed his claws against the metal floor. We've lost too many ships. Every prediction failed. Every tactic, useless. Lieutenant Kree's voice trembled. Sir, they're not attacking conventionally. One ship is controlling fleets like a puppeteer. Every movement we make, they anticipate. Vet Han growled. Impossible. They cannot know our every move. Meanwhile, the Aegis Horizon glided through space like a shadow. Captain Elena Mercer observed every fleet with calm precision. She did not rush. She did not panic. The humans had waited centuries for this moment, and patience was their greatest weapon. Captain, the tactical officer said, the Orlaxians are coordinating with the Dravik and Atari fleets. They are attempting a combined strike. Elena's lips curved into a subtle smile. Good. Let them try. Coordination only matters when the other side can predict your moves. We show them control, not chaos. As the alien fleets converged, the humans demonstrated a second level of dominance. Energy pulses, subtle and almost invisible, rippled through space. Ships attempting to maneuver found engines failing, weapons misfiring, shields collapsing without explanation. Entire formations fractured as if space itself obeyed the humans. Captain, they're losing formation. the tactical officer exclaimed. Every ship is experiencing anomalies. Elena's voice remained calm. We do not need numbers. We need understanding. That is what rules the stars. In the outer sectors, smaller civilizations watched anxiously. Communications fed live images of alien fleets breaking apart, commanders panicking, and yet, the Aegis horizon remained untouched. The humans were no longer just a threat, they were a revelation. Every species began to whisper and then shout, humans, humanity, unstoppable. On Earth, military and scientific leaders quietly observed, making notes, preparing contingencies, but always patient. They had planned for this moment. Years of anticipation, research, and training had led to this precise execution. The galaxy was learning that humans were not just clever, they were perfection in strategy and discipline. Back on the bridge of the Aegis horizon, Elena turned to her crew. Prepare to send a message, she said. The galaxy must understand clearly, humanity does not wage war recklessly. We act with patience, precision, and control. Let them learn respect before fear becomes necessary. A single broadcast went out, reaching every listening station across dozens of systems. This is humanity. We are no myth. We are no simple species. You have assumed the stars were yours. You assumed control. You were wrong. Humanity rules not through brute force, but through understanding, precision, and patience. Observe carefully. Learn. Respect. Fear if you must. We are the future of these stars. Silence followed. For the first time, multiple alien civilizations did not know how to respond. They could no longer rely on numbers, intimidation, or advanced weapons. Humans had rewritten the rules. Vethan sank into his chair, voice barely audible. They control the battlefield, without even firing a missile. Elena's calm eyes scanned the map. Let them realize, she said softly. Let them understand fully. We are not here to destroy, yet. We are here to be acknowledged. Across the galaxy, fleets began to withdraw, envoys were dispatched, and emergency councils convened. Fear was growing into respect, and respect into realization. Humanity had arrived. And the first moves of galactic diplomacy, fueled by fear, were about to begin. The Aegis horizon moved silently, untouchable, dominant, and patient. The galaxy would remember this moment forever. The humans had revealed themselves not as conquerors, but as rulers, intelligent, unstoppable, and patient beyond imagination. The galaxy held its breath. Across hundreds of systems, fleets had stopped, envoys were frozen in transit, and leaders of entire civilizations stared at their displays in disbelief. The humans had not fired a single weapon, yet they had paralyzed the mightiest fleets in known space. The Aegis horizon glided silently, untouched, untouchable, a symbol of a power the galaxy had never imagined. On the bridge, Captain Elena Mercer watched every holographic feed. Alien fleets quivered like leaves in a storm, their formations broken, their commanders stunned. Her crew moved with calm efficiency, each member understanding that this moment would be remembered for millennia. Captain, the communications officer said, the Orlaxians, the Dravik, even the Atari, they're sending a coordinated request to meet. They want negotiation. Immediate recognition of human authority. Elena's eyes gleamed. Good. Let them come. Let them understand the truth of the stars. We do not destroy recklessly, we dominate through intelligence, patience, and precision. That is how rulers are recognized. Across the galaxy, fleets slowly approached. Alien leaders, once arrogant and proud, now understood that humans were beyond comprehension. They had assumed numbers and weapons determined power. They had been wrong. Humans ruled through strategy, timing, and an understanding that no one else possessed. In the Orlaxian command center, Admiral Vethan sank into his chair, his massive claws trembling. It's impossible, he whispered. One ship, one human, controls everything. Lieutenant Kree nodded, voice breaking. They're not just powerful, They are perfection. Every move calculated. Every action unavoidable. Elena activated the long-range communication system. Her voice resonated across the galaxy, calm and commanding. This is humanity. We are no myth. We are no simple species. You assumed the stars were yours. You assumed control. You were wrong. Humanity rules not through aggression alone, but through understanding, precision, and patience. The galaxy must recognize us, not in fear alone, but in respect for what we have prepared. Let this be the beginning of a new order, one where humans are acknowledged as the true rulers of the stars. Silence followed, stretching across hundreds of systems. Alien fleets hesitated, unsure whether to respond, to attack, or to flee. Every species realized the truth. Humans were not just another civilization. They were unmatched, unstoppable, and patient enough to shape the galaxy without firing a single destructive weapon. And then came the first acknowledgement. Ships from multiple species aligned their formations, engines glowing, signaling submission, respect, and recognition. Envoys were dispatched, treaties drafted, and centuries of arrogance crumbled in an instant. On the bridge of the Aegis horizon, Elena turned to her crew. "This is only the beginning," she said quietly. "The galaxy now knows our name. Humanity has arrived. And we will ensure that our presence is never forgotten, that our intelligence, patience, and strength shape the stars for generations." The Aegis horizon glided forward, a silent sentinel across the cosmos. Alien fleets fell into formation, not out of fear alone, but out of recognition. Humanity had revealed itself, not as a conqueror, but as the apex force in the galaxy. Strategic, intelligent, and absolutely dominant. Somewhere deep in the outer systems, whispers began, spreading from one civilization to another. Humans, they rule the stars. They have always been patient, always been prepared, always been unstoppable. The galaxy had discovered the truth. And humanity had claimed its place among the stars, not by war alone, but by mastery, patience, and an understanding no other race had ever achieved. The era of humans had begun.